I found out what happened to my friend on the dark web by TheRealDeltaX on Reddit. There used to be a small YouTube channel called Sam's Online Food Review. It was run by my best friend Sam Ryder, a channel full of videos that consisted of Sam eating and reviewing food and drink before a camera. His channel garnered around 10,000 subscribers, which, although wasn't huge, was big enough for Sam to be dedicated to it. I can recall numerous times sitting in the passenger seat of his car, staying out of his shot, as moments prior he announced he wanted to video himself trying something he picked up in the store, only moving after he signed off with his signature, thumbs up or thumbs down, and his catchphrase, "I like it," or "I loathe it." He was liked for his friendly attitude and happy all-round good guy persona. He was well received by his audience. Rarely were there any hate comments, and when there were, Sam would shrug them off and keep smiling. Sam was always smiling. Sam's online food review went dark 7 months ago, with no warning, no notice, just deactivated. I didn't hear or see from Sam despite numerous phone calls and house visits to no avail. 6 days after his channel was deleted, I called the police to do a welfare check on Sam. I was worried he had fallen ill or hurt himself. The police made entry into his property and found nothing, and Sam was declared a missing person. A week after Sam was declared missing, a dog walker discovered a horrifically mutilated corpse on a railway line. The body had severe lacerations all around the head, arms, chest, and legs, and was almost cut in two across the waist. The decomposing internal organs were splayed out of the gruesome V-shaped cut. The autopsy report noted that although no direct cause of death could be confirmed, it was likely the large slit in the throat is what brought on death. The autopsy also turned up questionable findings, including the body missing its stomach and heart, long strips of flesh removed off the chest, arms, and lower back, and that the body was exsanguinated. The scene wasn't remarkably bloody, yet the body was almost completely drained of blood. 2 weeks later, the police had identified the deceased, despite the damage that had occurred to the corpse. The teeth were intact enough to get a viable reference for dental records. And my worst fears for Sam were realized. It was him. The police investigated, but could not find forensic evidence of any other person being on the scene. They eventually came to the conclusion that he was hit by a passing freight train. The lacerations and disembowelment attributed to being dragged under, and the missing organs explained away as being eaten by a wildlife, a fox maybe. Sam's mother decided it was best to cremate what remained of her only son. I stood next to her as the beach coffin was pulled into the large furnace. As the door closed and the gas jets ignited with a whoosh, she broke down into tears, and so did I. I stood there sobbing for the entire 90 minutes it took for one of the people I grew up with and shared so many memories with was vaporized. I mourned my friend and did my best to move on, and it was going well. I got distracted, got a new job, and started dating a girl I met through my work. A few months passed, and even though I missed Sam, things were going well. Right up to the point when I was browsing Reddit at 3 a.m., when I received a Facebook message from the account of my dead friend. I froze, seeing his profile picture in the messenger bubble, a picture taken during good times with Sam's wide smile plastered on his face. I felt a sudden chill. A profound sense of fear enveloped me. You know, the fear that makes you cold and your limbs ache as the slow drip of adrenaline. I froze, seeing his profile picture in the messenger bubble. A picture taken during good times with Sam's wide smile plastered on his face. I felt a sudden chill, a profound sense of fear enveloped me. You know, the fear that makes you cold and your limbs ache as the slow drip of adrenaline spreads throughout your body. With dread, I opened the message. It was a link to a file-sharing website. I stared at the seemingly random amalgamation of numbers and letters that made up the URL. My head raced through what the hell was on the other side of the link, and more importantly, why did my dead friend send it to me? My hand, seemingly on autopilot, brought the cursor above the link, and with my gut instinct screaming no, I clicked on the link. Before my finger had lifted from the click, I immediately regretted what I just did. Chrome opened a new tab to the website. The screen was gray, apart from a black rectangle in the middle of the page, which had a play button over it. I stared at it, unwilling to click. What was I scared of? I did not know. Around 10 seconds had passed, then the screen refreshed. Instead of the play button, the rectangle had the words, "Auto playing in 5 seconds," in bright white. I watched as the numbers counted down, trying to understand what was going on. An abrupt buzzing noise made me jump. The video began to play and the camera was pointed at what appeared to be a grimy, white-tiled surface. I could hear the sound of muffled whimpering, followed by footsteps of someone approaching the camera. There was some slight rustling noise as the camera was adjusted. The screen blurred out as the camera was turned. When the camera came back into focus, I let out a choked gasp. In the middle of a white-tiled room, Sam lay on his back on a stainless steel table, his eyes wide in pure, unfiltered terror. The light of a single bulb hanging over the table reflected off the sheen of sweat that coated his forehead. With his naked chest rising and falling rapidly in panic, he looked into the camera and attempted to yell. The noise was muffled by a tight cloth gag that was bound around his head, and his hands were also bound together tightly with duct tape. I stared at the screen, feeling increasingly sick, my brain failing to grasp what was going on. Before I could even comprehend what was happening, the sound of Sam squirming and whimpering was interrupted by a high-pitched voice. "Welcome to Sam's online food review. Today we have a special treat." The mocking tone came from behind the camera. Sam's panic increased. He started jerking his body, trying to free his hands as the voice continued. "Today, we will try what is considered a delicacy in many countries, although usually a forbidden one, that is." The camera zoomed out slightly, and a man appeared in the frame, standing in front of Sam. He was dressed in a white coat, with a red striped apron on. He wore a butcher's hat and a cloth mask. In his rubber-gloved hand he held a large red-handled butcher's scimitar, and in the other he held a sharpening rod. The man started running the knife up and down the rod in a smooth fashion. The steel on steel made a smooth sh 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 noise, and with that, Sam's panic-muffled yells grew stronger. The man placed down the sharpening rod and walked around the table. Sam turned his head and started what sounded like desperate pleading. "Poor little lamb," the man cooed. "It won't hurt long, and you'll be delicious." Even from here I could see that tears filled my friend's eyes. As he struggled, the man rolled Sam onto his front and pulled his head over the edge of the table. Then the man walked out of the shot and returned with a metal bucket that he placed on the floor below Sam's head. In a swift motion, he grabbed a tuft of Sam's hair and lifted his head, then started slitting his throat. Crimson burst from Sam's neck and splashed over the bucket and onto the floor. My friend's body jerked uncontrollably as blood spewed out of his neck like a volcanic eruption. As I watched this happen, I threw up and fell out of my chair in horror. I pulled myself away, not able to see any more. I fell again by the door, the speakers of my computer loud enough to hear what sounded like slicing and grunting. I lay curled up in the corner, sobbing amidst a panic attack. The minutes felt like hours. When the sound stopped, I shakily got up and walked to my computer, avoiding the pool of sick on the floor. I forced myself to look at the screen. The page had closed, and Chrome displayed the Reddit screen. The Facebook tab had one notification. I didn't want to click it, but I willed myself to. It was a message from Sam. I like it.